Hello again, welcome back to the PhatPhish Guitar Studio. I'm Dave and welcome to the Absolute Beginners series of guitar tutorials. You're actually joining part way through the series and I recommend you do these in order, so I'll put a link in the information section down there to part one so you can start and go through these in order. See you back here once you've been through the earlier tutorials. Let's talk about what you're doing with your fretting hand. The way the guitar works, if you hadn't sussed it out already, you've got the strings that play notes, and running along the neck, along the top of the neck on the fingerboard, you've got these metal strips that go across, and these are called the frets. And what the frets are for is when you push a guitar string down against a fret, you get a higher note. Effectively what you're doing is you're shortening it. So if you think about, I'm playing this B string here, I play the B note, and what I'm playing is the distance between the bridge down here and the nut where the string goes over up here. That's the length of the string. If I shorten the string, so if I push the string down against one of the frets, like here with the 5th fret, I get a higher note. I actually get an E. So that's the open note, and that's the fretted note. Okay, so I'll show you how to do fretting, and we'll start off by playing, say, this B string, this 2nd string, and we're going to fret it at the 5th fret. Now, I don't normally wear black nail varnish, but there's a few people commented when I'm playing a guitar that's got a light coloured fingerboard, it's a little bit difficult to see sometimes what my fingers are doing, you know, over there on the camera. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so for when you're fretting a note, first thing is you're not putting your finger down on top of the fret wire. You're actually putting it down slightly behind and pushing the string in behind the wire. Your finger needs to be sort of perpendicular to the neck, like that. If it's too flat an angle, you'll start to hit other strings. So here, my finger's quite flat to the neck, and that's what the first string sounds like. The first string needs to be able to ring out cleanly, not be impeded by the string that's fretting on the B string. So keep your finger fairly upright and pushing in right behind the fret wire. Now when you first start playing, you'll feel that you're pushing in with all of your strength and you're really squeezing the note. In practice, to be honest, you don't actually need to press that hard. It's just when you're first learning, it feels quite artificial, and the temptation is to really squeeze the string a lot harder than you need to. And one of the problems you can run into is because if your finger's not totally perpendicular, you actually start to bend the string, and it's ringing out as a note, but it's actually a little bit too sharp. It's too high. No, you should be playing the note, so there's no bend in the string. So keep an eye on that. Those things, if I was in the room with you, keeping an eye on what you're doing, I could correct you at every step of the way. Because you're learning this by YouTube and by video, it's kind of, the onus is on you to be aware of these things and to keep checking yourself. So that's basically fretting a note. And you can do that, any fret, any string, all the way up the fingerboard. And probably the most important skill that you'll learn is how to fret a note effectively. Well, if you first start playing guitar and you've never done anything like this before, I'll warn you, it will hurt. Particularly if you're playing a guitar that's got steel strings as opposed to a classical that's got nylon strings on it that are a little bit softer. Steel strings are quite hard, and what you're doing is you're bringing your hand around at a bit of an odd angle and you're pushing a piece of metal against another piece of metal and wood, and your fingers will hurt. One of those things really you just need to persevere with. I think this is why people who start to learn guitar tend to stick with it. There's quite a few people sit down and start to learn like instruments like keyboards, or I remember at school everybody learned the recorder at one stage or another, but there's not really the motivation to keep playing it. Guitar, once you get to a certain level, you've suffered, and you kind of want to stick with it. So why did I pick the 5th fret on the B string for this example? I could have picked any string, any fret, and the reason I chose this particular one is I want to show you a way for checking that your guitar's in tune. It's a really quick, really easy way of checking that your guitar's in tune, because remember before I said the importance of knowing that you're in tune all the time. Now we're not going to learn all of the notes all the way across the fingerboard right now. It's something you do need to know, but this series of tutorials, it's more about being able to get you playing and understanding what you're doing fairly quickly. And we're going to worry about note names maybe a little bit later on. Just going to worry now about the note that you're playing at the time. Okay, so second string is a B. If I fret that at the first fret, I get a C. Second fret, a C sharp. Third fret, I get a D. Fourth fret, I get a D sharp. And fifth fret, I get an E. Don't worry too much about those note names now and what sharp means or anything like that. What we're worried about is when we get to the fifth fret on the B string, we get an E. If you remember from when we tuned the guitar before, we said that the first string is called the top E. So what you can hear there is that string, the second string fretted at the fifth fret, gives me an E, and the open first string gives me an E. So I can quickly check that those two strings are in tune with each other. If I play those two strings and they sound out, not the same note on both strings, one of those strings is sharp or flat. And you can do a similar sort of thing with the other strings. The third string, G, if you fret that at the fourth fret, you get a B, which should be the same note as the open second string. Fourth string, the D, fretted at the fifth fret, gives you a G, which should sound the same note as the open third string, G. The fifth string is an A. Move that up to the fifth fret and fret it at the fifth, we get a D, which should be the same as that open fourth string. And lastly, the bottom E string fretted at the fifth fret gives us an A, and we play the open A string, should get the same note. So if you've been playing guitar for a little bit and you just want to check it's still in tune, and there you go. Everything, all those pairs of notes sound the same, so I know my guitar's in tune. If one of those sounded off, get the tuner, or if they all kind of sound okay apart from one pair, you can kind of home in as to which string it is that's out of tune and tune it up yourself. Okay, let's actually start playing something.